Hello and welcome back to the Old Timer's Tales. Here in this series, the old-timer Jayanta Kumar Nath would introduce you to amazing tales from all across the globe, belonging to diverse genres. All these stories are a part of an anthology, the book titled Contemporary Global Fiction. These stories have been wonderfully compiled and edited by Dr. Susminder Jeet Kaur. The book has been published by Penprints India Limited, Kolkata. Today, the story we would listen to is Why Did Philip Flip?, written by Ravinder Singh Sodi. Author Mr. Ravinder Singh Sodi has retired as a teacher, but his soul still dances with words. He is a poet, a storyteller, a playwright, a critic, a translator, and a lifelong devotee of theater. This story has been beautifully narrated by Miss Shambhobi Nath. Well, if you love these kinds of stories, please press the like button on the screen and subscribe to the channel for more of these tales. So, let's start.
Why Did Philip Flip? By Ravinder Singh Sodi. The party was on. Aunt Dorothy, the host, was sitting in a chair quietly. A harmonica lay on an empty chair next to her. Now and then she would pick it up and hold it in her hands. At times, she would take it to her lips. She would repeatedly look at the empty chair intently, and then at the 20-odd guests gathered in the large courtyard of her home, who were busy gossiping, eating, and drinking. From afar, I observed Auntie, scanning for someone among them. An anguish lurking behind her eyes shone through their wetness. I ambled my way up to her. Seeing me, she tried to smile, but sadness dominating her face subdued it. She looked at me inquiringly. I brought up a chair and sat near her, unable to say anything. I very well knew how special this day was for her and for her husband, Uncle David. They celebrated it annually with gusto, year after year. Memories of the day from last year streamed across my mind. Uncle David sat in the chair next to her. Today, it is empty. After regular intervals, they worked their way through their guests, indulging in short and humorous conversations, spreading fountains of laughter. Whenever Uncle David felt inspired, he would blow on the harmonica, held in his hand. While at it, he would simultaneously start swaying to the humming. Auntie's feet would start tapping spontaneously, and in no time she was spinning around him dancing. About 5 years ago, I met the two for the first time when I responded to their online rental property advertisement. I landed in America on an H-1B work visa only a week earlier, for the first time, alone. My wife Sangeeta stayed home in India because we decided I should start work and lease a decent living space for her before she joined me. On arrival, I stayed with one of my acquaintances, Rahul. After work, I would search for rental properties online. Rahul routinely advised me against renting anything in a hurry. However, I was eager to move ahead so that Sangeeta and I could reunite. One day I came across a partially furnished 2-bedroom rental property. The $800 monthly rent was reasonably affordable on my salary. I called the owner David and we agreed on a day and time to visit the property. The agreed meeting point was David's home, a short 10-minute walk from Rahul's residence. I rang the doorbell. A 60 to 65-year-old man opened the door with a broad smile. "Anup?" he asked. I smiled and nodded my head. He invited me in. In the living room, a charming lady a few years younger than David sat in an easy chair. "My wife Dorothy," he said. I folded my hands to greet her. She copied my action. Both husband and wife were amiable with a flair for warm conversation. First David asked me about myself, my work, my family, and where I presently live. They both talked calmly and patiently. I did my best to answer them objectively and briefly. While David and I were talking, Dorothy left the living room only to come back with 3 glasses of orange juice. I thanked her for it when she handed me one of the glasses. Since starting work in America, a few Punjabi colleagues repeatedly told me how snobbish the whites are, about how hard they find it to talk properly with us. Plus, they said they are determined to rent their properties only to whites. They think that we don't pay due attention to cleanliness. They think our cooking stinks. They never let a stranger into their homes. Even if I wholly, some of our white colleagues' behavior reinforced what I had been told. However, David and Dorothy were different. I found them cordial and refined and their conduct welcoming. After juice, David led me upstairs to give me a tour of the rental property. It was clean and the furniture there was in good condition. Within my heart, I was calculating if I could get it for the time being, and all I would need to buy would be beds. That would save me quite a bit. The bus stop was around the corner, which would provide my ride to the office. I could get routine provisions from the gas station around the road, and an Indian grocery wasn't far. I could manage without a car for some time. We returned to the living room. As soon as I sat down, I said, "Sir, I am ready to rent it for $800. How much should I give in advance?" David looked at me in amazement. "Excuse me? Who did you address as sir?" "My name isn't sir, but David and my better half is Dorothy. Please refer to us with our names." I spoke with hesitation. "You are older than I. We don't call the older folks by their names. We say sir, uncle, and auntie. I'm your children's age, so I can't use your name." At the same time, I didn't want them to judge me as backward. Therefore, taking control of the situation, I said, "I'm yet fresh off the boat in America. It will take me some time to acclimatize to these new surroundings." Hearing this, they both laughed. "I like such things in you Punjabis very much," Dorothy said. "When I was a student at the university, a Punjabi girl and 2 Delhi boys were also with me. The lady was younger than me. It took him 2 years to transition from Didi to Dorothy. She would tell me tons about Punjabis. "Every nation has its own culture," I said. Whenever people come in contact with a new culture, they need time to adapt to it. You both are my parents' age, so it is challenging for me to say your names. I beg your forgiveness, but if you insist, interrupting me, Uncle David said, you made me very happy. You talk clearly and respect your cultural values. Therefore, we will charge you only $700. Is that okay with you, Dorothy? Give him a break, she said. Looking at me, she continued. We just have one son, Philip. He lives in this city with his wife and children, despite owning his own business. Whenever Philip is down here to meet us, he doesn't stop asking for money. She laughed. After this, Uncle shared his decision. We will see about the amount of rent after a month. You need to pay us no advance. When do you plan to move in? I was delighted that the rent came down $100 and that no deposit was asked. They gave me the key to the rental property when I said, tomorrow is Saturday, I can move in tomorrow. Rahul helped transport my belongings from his house in his car and later lent a hand to help me set up my new dwelling. After that, I went with him to buy Indian groceries. It was 6 p.m. by the time we were done. Rahul left. I lay down on the sofa to relax. I received David's call on my mobile a little later. He told me that he had ordered a pizza and I should be downstairs and join them in an hour. I took a shower and quickly got ready. Instead of wearing a turban, I used a white patka. At 7, I went down to them. Looking at my patka, Uncle asked if it was a mini turban. I told him we call it a patka or under turban. We use it at home. Uncle brought out a bottle of wine and asked if I drank it. After confirming that I did, he poured it into 3 glasses. The pizza delivery came before our wine was gone. After the meal, Auntie prepared coffee for all of us. Because it was Sunday the next day, we talked late into the night. In all this, I made it clear to them that I would continue to call them uncle and auntie as that makes me feel they are part of my family. Living in David's and Dorothy's upstairs apartment not only provided me the physical home, but a feeling of home as well. I would regularly sit with David for a bit every evening after work. On weekends, they would take me in their car to visit various places. He helped me with groceries also. I even arranged for them to video chat with Sangeeta a few times. Sangeeta also found the two good-natured and developed affection for them. Auntie had told me umpteen times to get Sangeeta here quickly. Sangeeta was in a hurry also. One night I went ahead and bought her a ticket. Uncle and Auntie accompanied me to the airport to pick up Sangeeta. Auntie had already ordered food of Sangeeta's liking from an Indian restaurant. Even though Sangeeta was tired after a long journey, good food and Auntie Uncle's love renewed her. After I left for the office, Sangeeta would finish her domestic chores and go to Dorothy's. Sangeeta always helped Auntie with her work. Uncle and Auntie were delighted to see this side of Sangeeta. They had mentioned many times that they only had one son, and he too had started living separately when he was still a student. After his wedding, they offered Philip and his wife many times to come and stay with them, but the newlyweds preferred their own home. Despite being in the same city, Philip didn't visit for months. at a stretch. After they had children, the meetings grew even more infrequent. Due to the seemingly indifferent behavior of their son, auntie and uncle had been feeling lonely for a long time. They had retired after working for the state government their entire lives, and now they were enjoying retirement with good pensions. They also had a few rental properties. Despite their financially secure lives, they were unhappy. They missed the social and emotional side of the family. They rarely saw their only child, daughter-in-law, and grandkids. On the positive side, they were physically and mentally fit and loved each other. I never heard them arguing or raising their voices. One day, uncle and auntie told us they planned to invite some of their close friends to a party. The morning of the event, Philip and his wife Tanya came to help. Tanya told Sangeeta, "We're so happy now because of you two." In the evening, uncle and auntie wore gorgeous clothes and welcomed the guests festively. On that day, I learned about one more quality of Uncle David. He was an expert at playing harmonica, and Aunt Dorothy was an incredible dancer. Uncle's music mesmerized the listeners, and Aunt's dance enchanted the audience. The resulting applause encouraged them. In no time, everyone was dancing. Sangeeta and I enthralled them with our version of Punjabi dance. After some days, I asked about the event and its significance. Uncle related an interesting tale. He said, "When Philip was about 6, Dorothy and I were at loggerheads due to some misunderstanding. We constantly argued and fought over minor issues. So we decided to get separated. I moved out of the house." Uncle grew silent. After taking a long breath, he resumed, "Our separation hurt Philip too much. He was unable to handle it. Being the only child didn't help him either. He started misbehaving at school and hanging around with the wrong kids. He stopped doing his homework. It severely hurt him emotionally, but he kept it inside. He didn't like to talk about it. We tried to get him the help. The psychiatrist told us he was deeply scarred because of the separation. He can't handle it. He wants to stay with both of you. He could be normal only if we two lived together." We decided to sort out our differences for Philip's sake, and I moved back in. The day of my moving back became special for us as a family. We decided to celebrate the date of our reconciliation every year so that we never forget that parents must make many compromises for our children's welfare. After narrating the story, Uncle murmured, "Now see the agony of life. Philip, that brought us back together, now lives separately from us." While saying this, his voice cracked. I consoled him. After some time, he continued, "You have to understand one thing. In this world, the views of two people will never be the same. But despite differences, we have to learn to live together. At every stage of life, we should be ready for challenges. To enjoy every moment of life, we must shed our ego." I realized this is the philosophy of living a happy life. Uncle and auntie were missing the company of their son, daughter-in-law, and grandchildren. They were treating us as their children. They were economically well off but needed someone to share their joys and sorrows. I related the story to my wife. After that, we tried our best to spend as much as time with them as possible. In between, my parents and Sangeeta's parents also visited. They brought unique gifts not only for uncle and auntie, but also for Philip and his family. Philip and his wife were delighted. They also took all of us to Disneyland and Niagara Falls. Even when everything was going smoothly, one day, Uncle had a massive heart attack. And before he could get any medical help, he passed away. It was an irreparable loss, not only for Auntie, but for all of us. After this, Auntie was in shock. She was also disappointed with Philip, who never offered his mother an opportunity to move in with him. Sangeeta and I assured her we would stay and look after her as long as possible. About 4 months after Uncle's death, that special day was approaching. Auntie told us that when they started this tradition, it was decided that if one of them left this world, the other must continue with this yearly celebration. So some close friends were invited on August 10th. On this day, everyone was missing Uncle. Most of the time, Auntie remained seated in the chair. Philip, Tanya, Sangeeta and I were looking after the guests. The party was over within a couple of hours. When all the guests left, we cleaned the courtyard and carried the leftover food inside. Auntie was looking at Philip. He never really understood his mother's feelings. It was not entirely his fault. He was raised in an atmosphere where such emotions were rarely expressed. After some time, he got up and said, "Okay, Mom, see you later." His kids waved at their grandmother and said, "Bye, take care," and followed their father. Auntie got up from her chair and fell to the ground. I immediately rushed towards her, picked her up, and put her on the sofa. Sangeeta ran outside to bring Philip.